Good day and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I'm your host, the voice of reason. So in today's report on the ongoing civil war taking place inside of Ethiopia, the conflict continues unabated. And I will start from the Eastern Front in terms of discussing operations that are occurring in Afar, and then I'll work my way towards the Southeastern Front, the Central Front, and then the Western Front of operation. So first off, the Afar Front, or the Eastern Front, is really more of a diversionary operation by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. It served really kind of two facets. It was a pursuit operation of Ethiopian army forces that had departed from the Tigray region, and then obviously those forces were interdicted, and many were in fact either destroyed or captured by the Tigrayan Defense Forces as they were leaving the Tigray region heading east. And then finally, obviously, it was also a military operation of limited scope with fairly fast-moving units, smaller units, really designed to seize key objectives inside the Afar region and kind of create a diversionary effect for further operations along other frontal zones. Those operations continue in Afar. There have been reported setbacks in terms of localized militia counterattacks and so forth. But again, it is not a focused operation of the TDF to stay in the Afar region. It is a very vast region with limited resources in terms of the ability to supply forces for an extended period of time. So I do not foresee the TDF remaining in the Afar region for an extended period of time. Again, a diversionary operation and an operation designed to go after both Ethiopian army forces that had fled into Afar, and also a preemptive operation designed to blunt any possible operations by the Ethiopian state from operating from Afar into the Tigray region. Next, the southeastern frontal area. The Tigrayan Defense Forces continue to encircle Waldea and prepare to enter that town in force at some point. The Tigrayan Defense Forces are very close to the city itself, and in some cases have actually conducted reconnaissance into the outlying suburbs of the town. The issue right now is, again, the methodology, the operational method of the Tigrayan Defense Forces is really to encircle these towns and cut these towns off, seize control of strong points outside of the area, and then continue to consolidate in the area, and then if the need arises to actually enter the town, that of course would occur. Now, of course, at some point the TDF will enter Waldea. It is in the process of preparing to do that as we speak, and it will most likely fall within the next few days. And then if we could look for further operations to possibly continue, it would also give the TDF a decent area to continue its efforts to set up defensive fronts designed to prevent a further invasion of the Tigray region as well. In the central front, with the primary target right now of Debark, operations continue. Very shortly, I would assume we will see Tigrayan field guns, probably 122 millimeter guns, being moved to these mountain peaks that would then have the ability to fire down on Debark if needed. So The TDF would then have the ability to locate targets if needed and shell debark in terms of hitting military targets that could be in the city. But again, that would be designed to create a situation where the city capitulates and surrenders without having to shell the city and create conditions for protracted urban combat. That isn't the goal. The TDF really is right now looking for, I believe, to encircle the city on both the western, northern, and eastern flanks, and then have the ability to launch artillery strikes by gaining control of these mountain peaks. And as you can see here, this would placing artillery, Delta 30 guns, 122 millimeter, a range of around 16 kilometers, would have a very easy time of hitting targets that could be moving towards Debark or military targets in Debark as well. And that seems to be the goal right now. And just again, a few 122 millimeter guns placed on these terrain features overlooking this valley, as so to speak, would suffice to really cause a great deal of pain for these Amhara militias and obviously the Ethiopian army as well, once those gun emplacements are put into position. Furthermore, this would also serve as a defensive barrier for any possible offensive operations back into the Tigray region, and that would, I'm sure the TDF is looking 1 year, 2 years from now until the Ethiopian army is able to reconstitute itself. And then obviously in the western area of operation, we continue to get reports that the Eritrean army continues to strengthen its position in the west, especially near the town of Hamora. We will continue to monitor that situation as well. But just to look at how the conflict has progressed and kind of what is causing the current situation for the Ethiopian army, I really think we have to look at what occurred inside of the Tigray region. And the Tigray Buzz Saw, so to speak, that was created by the Ethiopian occupational forces inside of the region. And we're really now starting to understand. I think many people in the military sector really kind of understood that the Ethiopian army had taken horrific casualties over its 6-month occupation of the Tigray region. But now we're just starting to get verification of just how serious those casualties really were. And the Ethiopian army was just not built to conduct a long-term occupation of the Tigray region, and it has suffered greatly for that, both in terms of lost treasure and obviously military capability as well. Many of its best units were simply destroyed and massively degraded inside of the Tigray region. But not only that, other units as well, lesser trained units, were thrown into this buzzsaw, and the level of casualties that the Ethiopian army sustained inside of Tigray, and that's why I call it the Tigray Buzz Saw, because that's what it became for the Ethiopian army. It quite literally destroyed the Ethiopian army. Seizing 1 or 2 targets would have been within the operational capability of the Ethiopian army, but and I think that's what I don't think, I know that's what the Ethiopian army, its intent was. It was intending to look for basically a shootout in and around Mekelle, and crush the defending Tigrayan defense forces that they were hoping would put up a fight for Mekelle and some other major cities. And they had prepared for that sort of urban fight, and more or less they were looking to reduce a lot of these urban settlements, such as Mekelle, through the use of heavy artillery and tanks. However, that obviously that didn't occur, and the TDF withdrew into central Tigray. At the same time, they did put up a fight in terms of as the Ethiopian army did, moved into the Tigray region. They did sustain casualties, but they really started sustaining the casualties that are affecting operations now. When the TDF came out of central Tigray, and the Ethiopian army and the Eritrean army to some extent actually tried to enter central Tigray, and that ended in just a catastrophic defeat for both parties at hand, both the Eritreans and the Ethiopian army. And you cannot suffer those kinds of losses with the capabilities that you currently have and expect to continue to prosecute a conflict. Right now, the Tigray Defense Forces, the Tigray region, would seem to be looking for a military solution to the end of this conflict. And they seem to have momentum and confidence to do so. And they're facing obviously the shattered remnants of the Ethiopian army that just really took a beating in the Tigray region, and is now attempting to conduct operations with militia units. Militia units from Amhara, militia units from Oromia, and other places as well. And unfortunately, it's not working very well for them. Are they able to mount resistance? In some cases, stiff resistance, yes, but to conduct counter operations and continue offensive operations back into the Tigray region, it's just not happening right now. It's going to take a while for the Ethiopian army to reconstitute itself. But that is the situation as we speak. We could probably see the bark fall within the next few days, as we will see the Tigrayan military enter Weldia at some point as well. And then we'll have to look at what comes next. Does the TDF move on down to Dese and attempt to further its gains by seizing further medium-sized cities and towns as it presses south, or does it pause and set up a defensive perimeter around the Tigray region, and then focus its combat resources on the Western Front and seizing Himora and grabbing hold of that coveted border with Sudan that it much needs for trade goods and supply and food for its people. But we will continue to monitor the situation and then obviously report as events warrant. Have a great day, everybody.